So I got a really, really controversial topic that I want to talk to you guys about UFC 324. But around the time that you guys are probably watching this, a lot of action has already taken place. UFC 325, Volkanovski versus Diego Lopez. We've got Teofimo Lopez versus Shakur Stevenson in boxing. And then we've got the Royal Rumble, guys. The Rumble itself that happened. I'm not going to talk about it right now. Another video. But yes, guys, there's a lot. That's another fight weekend. Back-to-back fight weekends. It's absolutely incredible. And back-to-back UFC pay-per-views. I love it. Now, here's what I want to talk about. Justin Gaethje has a belt, okay? We know that. That's been established. You know, his win against Paddy Pimblett, UFC 324 last week at the T-Mobile Arena in Las Vegas. But according to Justin Gaethje, that belt means nothing. And at the same time, half the MMA world is screaming that Paddy Pimblett was robbed. He was robbed because of an eye poke. Now, the real question is, did Gaethje really earn this win? And is a rematch unavoidable? So, we're going to get into that, guys. What's good, fight fans? Welcome to Duality 7X. I'm your host, Shiraz. And look, there's a lot of action that's already happened and happening. Like this evening, we've got UFC 325. We've got boxing. We've got a lot of things happening. But if I'm trying to just kind of streamline and talk about MMA, UFC, there's a lot of drama that's unfolding right now in the UFC, and it's starting to get to the point where that lava needs to just erupt. It needs to go somewhere, and we're gonna get a volcanic eruption, and it's gonna happen, and it's gonna happen in such grand fashion, guys, because there's too much that's going on that's gonna require some kind of an answer. And so this is where it gets really interesting, right? Because we all saw UFC 324. We saw what happened, and I'm talking about the main event between Gaethje and Pimblett. It almost looked one-sided in a sense, right? Both of these guys were just firing off of all cylinders, and the way I thought, what I thought was going to happen was I thought Justin Gaethje, as he's getting older and climbing up in age, I thought, and I'm not undermining, that doesn't undermine his talents in any way, guys, just because a person gets older. No, I just had this feeling that Paddy Pimblett had a little bit more momentum going into this fight than Justin Gaethje. That was just my opinion based on what I was able to see in my, just watching these guys fight and their training and everything. Paddy Pimblett's a rising star in the UFC. That said, there's been a lot of people who've been some of his harshest critics, such as Arman Tsarukyan, who's been calling out Paddy for a very long time and actually poking fun of the fact that he doesn't think he's that qualified, not at his level. And of course, when Paddy Pimblett lost to Justin Gaethje, Arman Tsarukyan had a field day, just trashing the UK star left, right, and center. But now, people are starting to shift their focus on the fight between Gaethje and Pimblett that night, UFC 324. And when Justin Gaethje won the interim lightweight title, most fighters would actually be celebrating, right? But Gaethje, on the other hand, he wasn't celebrating. He made it clear that he's still second place. And guys, that's a powerful statement, because wearing an interim belt is an interim belt. It's not forever. It's not, no belt's forever, but it's not, it's an interim. What interim means, right? And it's not the actual UFC real crown. If you're standing next to the undisputed champion of the world, and then you're the interim champion of the world, well, interim is second to undisputed. That's plain and simple, guys, right? I mean, it's basically kind of like a placeholder on the mat. Like the people at the casino, they put a placeholder on their machine when they step out to go to the bathroom, go grab a snack, and then come back. That means, please, guys, don't touch this machine. This is mine. Or a placeholder at a restaurant. I'm sitting in this seat. Excuse me, I'll be right back. Maybe runs off to the bathroom again. Who knows? But essentially, and I'm not trying to make it sound like the interim titles mean absolutely nothing, but really, guys, it's an interim belt. Are people going to be talking about the interim champion, or are they going to be talking about the undisputed crown, king or queen of their division? That's what they're going to be talking about. That's the title that they want. Right? So anyways, they want the real crown. And in this case, Justin Gaethje is complaining of the fact that he doesn't have the real crown and he doesn't feel like a champion. And he's really upset about this because he's the interim lightweight title champion, but he feels like the actual champion is getting a pass and he gets to sit out, dealing with his personal issues or whatever things are going on in Ilia Topuria's world. And obviously we've documented that extensively on this channel. And he is clearly going through some personal things. And he did request some time off. And he was granted that time off by the UFC. And rumor has it that Ilia Topuria is going to be coming back in the first quarter of this year. And look, should that not happen, then I'm sure he'll be stripped of the title. And away we go. But anyways, Justin Gaethje is feeling a little salty. He doesn't feel like he's truly a champion. And honestly, that mentality is probably the reason why fans really gravitate towards Justin. And he doesn't necessarily want optics, but he wants legitimacy. And I think that's kind of what he's complaining about. And you know what? I kind of agree with him. Because I personally, when I look at fighters, I'm not looking at whether they're the interim title champion. I'm actually wanting to know if they're the undisputed champion. Are they the crown wearing champion? That's in my books. That's the true champion. It's almost like in WWE, you have the world heavyweight champion, right? You have the men's and women's world championship title, and then you have the intercontinental champion. And then you got the USA champion. And then, what are those titles really? What the WWE should do, and I think they should make this change, is they should have titles for each division weight class. That would be interesting. But it seems like it's just kind of like, and for the longest time since I can remember, from watching WrestleMania 1, 2, all the way to current, it's always been like a free for all. You'll have like guys like Rey Mysterio, who are clearly smaller in stature when you compare them to like the likes of like a Drew McIntyre or The Rock or whatever. But I mean, but they'll still compete for the same title, which kind of, I don't know. And I get it, there's storylines and stuff associated with it, but in my opinion, that's what they should do. And in that way, there's a little bit more legitimacy, a little bit more importance given to that title. And I think that'd be an interesting experiment. I think we need to look into that. So now, Justin Gaethje made some powerful statements, okay? And, essentially saying that the interim belt isn't the real crown, and I kind of agree with him. Feels like it's just a placeholder while the true champion is sitting out somewhere, and that's fine. He has a right to his opinion, and in a lot of ways, he's actually right. Yeah, he doesn't want to be a stand-in champion anymore. He wants the actual undisputed title around his waist. That's what he wants, and honestly, maybe he deserves it. Right? I mean, he beat Paddy Pimblett for the interim title, and now Arman Tsarukyan is like on everyone's heels about wanting an opportunity to take on Ilia Topuria now for the actual undisputed title. But then what happens? Now you have Justin Gaethje, who's the interim title holder, So shouldn't Justin Gaethje have the first right of opportunity to take on Ilia Topuria? Usually that's how it works. And then maybe Arman Tsarukyan takes on Paddy Pimblett. And the winner out of Arman and Paddy will take on the winner of Justin and Ilia. That's how it should go down, I think. But anyways, so then there's a little bit more controversy that happened at UFC 324, and we're talking about the eye poke controversy, right? And so here's where things get a little dicey, because in the fight, if you guys watched the fight in the between Paddy and Justin, there was a moment that actually went super viral, and it was quite controversial. I saw it, you saw it, the world saw it, and there was this eye poke, okay? And eye pokes are starting to get super, super controversial. If you guys remember Cyril Gane and Tom Aspinall and what happened there, and Tom still hasn't returned to the UFC. He has to have double eye surgery, apparently. It starts to get really, really messy when we're starting to talk about eye pokes. And in this case, many fans are calling foul. They're crying foul. They're saying that it wasn't properly penalized. So there's poor officiating. Others say it was an accidental, eye poke. It's part of the MMA. Shit like that happens. It happens all the time, unfortunately, right? So, there's low blows that happen, and there's eye pokes, and we experienced all of that in the Gaethje and Pimblett fight. Those things happen. Unfortunately, they do. When two fighters are in such close proximity within one another, and they're not just striking, they're grappling. You got jiu-jitsu, you got various forms of mixed martial arts involved. Knees are going to be flying, elbows are going to be flying, heads are, there's going to be headbutts. There's going to be all kinds of things that are going to happen that shouldn't happen. In this case, people are crying foul of the fact that they feel that the eye poke should have been penalized a little bit stronger. And some fans are even saying that because of that eye poke, Paddy wasn't able to completely regroup, and because of which he had subsequently lost a match against Gaethje. Now, that could be a possibility. I'm not going to completely dispute that argument, but I mean, Gaethje did have a lot of the upper hand when it came to the striking. But look, social media has been on fire. You got X, you got Instagram, Reddit, TikTok. All of them are blowing up, guys. Facebook, everyone. There's all these slow motion caps and like clips, and then there's all these heated debates between fans and rivals and calls for a rematch, and you got one side saying stuff like, well, Pimblett was compromised, we need to run it back, and then and on the other hand, you got people who are like, oh, well, we'll stop crying, you guys are sore losers, and Justin Gaethje clearly won this fight, and it is what it is, right? So now we got to ask the real questions here. Controversial fouls in big fights usually lead to rematches, right? And that's just evident in sports combat history. I'm not just talking about, MMA, UFC. I'm talking about things that happen in boxing as well. And of course, the WWE and all kinds of forms of combat sports. Usually that's what happens. Now, obviously, by now, we would have thought we would have seen Cyril Gane and Tom Aspinall run it back, but Tom Aspinall apparently is still injured due to the injuries that he that he was a recipient of during his fight against Gane. And so that begs another question: is like, well, now if you can't do a rematch, what do you do then? Because if somebody's seriously injured, like, that mitigates from us being able to see a rematch in the first place until those fighters are completely healed up so that they could fight again. But what if they don't heal up? Anyways, I don't want to get off on a tangent, guys, but those are valid questions and things that people are starting to chime up about a lot more now, because we're starting to see a lot more frequent penalties like low blows and eye pokes happening in UFC matches, right? So, I mean, from a business standpoint, guys, I mean, this is a no-brainer for the UFC. The first fight was absolutely brutal. It was emotional, and it went extremely viral. So it was a success. It was a win for Dana White and the team at UFC, and a rematch would do huge numbers, right? But from Gaethje's perspective, he doesn't want to waste time. I don't know if he really truly wants a rematch against Paddy Pimblett, because he, according to Gaethje, he's proven himself against Paddy. He's been there. He's done that, according to him. Now he wants to look forward. He doesn't want to look in his rearview mirror. He wants to know what's in front of him, and what's in front of him is Ilia Topuria, who's the undisputed champion of the world. That's the title that Gaethje wants. But in his way, you still have folks like Paddy. You've got Arman Tsarukyan, right? You've got a lot of different guys, very high quality caliber folks, and including people from other weight classes who are willing to either cut weight or increase weight just to be able to get that opportunity against Topuria as well. So this makes things a lot more challenging. It makes it, there's obviously layers of complexity and effort now that are going to have to go into this, but it's going to be really interesting. And so from my perspective, honestly, I think Gaethje earned the win. I'm a huge fan of Paddy Pimblett. I think he's such a remarkable young star, a rising MMA star from the UK, and I think he's got a lot to offer to this business. He had one bad loss. Get over it, guys. This guy's going to come back, and he's going to come back bigger, stronger, and more ferocious than ever. I truly feel that, and I truly feel that Paddy one day is going to be a champion. But that said, right now, the tables have turned. The momentum has shifted, and things are a little bit different. And although Gaethje did earn the win in the cage, the controversy surrounding this whole fight continues to grow and grow day by day, right? So if you're the UFC, you either give Gaethje the undisputed title shot, or you book the rematch and let's just settle it once and for all, guys. What are we waiting for? Honestly, what you can't do is ignore what the fans are saying, because right now the fan base is livid. And not only just livid, but they're divided, right? So I want to hear from you guys. Should Gaethje honestly be able to move straight forward to the undisputed title fight between him and Topuria, or does Paddy Pimblett deserve a rematch because of the eye poke? The other option is, does Arman Tsarukyan maybe take on Paddy Pimblett, or let me reframe this. Sorry. You also have Arman Tsarukyan, right? So does he go on to take on Paddy Pimblett instead? Or does he get the opportunity now to fight Ilia Topuria? And does he fight Gaethje? Right? I mean, either or, I truly see a fight between Arman and one of these other two guys that I talked about. It's either Topuria, three guys, either Topuria, Gaethje, or Pimblett. It's going to happen. That's my opinion. And if Arman does take on Paddy Pimblett, then I think we've got Gaethje and Topuria. They're going to be clashing for the one belt. And if that doesn't happen, then I see Topuria and Tsarukyan, and then Paddy Pimblett and Gaethje running it back in a rematch. I know for a fact that Gaethje doesn't want a rematch because he's already been there. What he wants now is the undisputed crown. Right? So anyways, that's my opinion, guys. Drop your thoughts and comments below. I read everything. If you enjoyed this breakdown, please smash the like and subscribe. Hit the notification so you guys never miss a beat or any of the latest news when it comes to the world of combat sports, MMA, and the UFC. And guys, it's fight weekend. I can't wait to talk to you more about this later. And if you don't hear from me tonight, then you'll probably hear from me tomorrow, where we can recap some of the action that happened at UFC 325. Guys, it's going to be explosive. Volkanovski versus Lopez 2. Who do you think is going to win? Guys, thank you for your time. I'll catch you on the next video.